Hey, it's Eric from Higgins Energy. We're going to start a fire in your new wood stove. We're going to do what's called a top-down method. This is where we start with some larger logs, and then we add some medium-sized logs, and then we add the kindling to the top. So we have some nice dry wood here, and some nice small kindling. With the new system, it's very important to preheat your flue. The biggest thing is you don't want to smoke out your house. So we're going to start by lining the bottom of the bottom of the stove with some larger pieces here. We're going to crisscross medium pieces. We're going to add some newspaper. You typically want to lightly crumple the newspaper. If you have it wadded up too tight, it's not going to burn fast and hot. Some of the newer stoves with the catalytic combustors, you just want to be cautious not to use too much newspaper, too much cardboard, things like that. Alright, I'm going to add one more piece of newspaper to the top. And that's just going to ensure that we establish enough draft so we don't smoke out the house. We're going to light the bottom, light the top, and then just shut the door just so it's just cracked. We'll let that newspaper catch. You get a good updraft going. When we crack the door, that gives us just a little bit extra draft and a nice pull. Now the idea of the top down is, it's less maintenance. We can start our fire, and we can leave the door cracked, and we can kind of do some other things, monitor the stove, but it's less maintenance. We don't have to be poking at the fire. We don't have to be adding wood too often. But it usually takes a good 5 or 10 minutes just to get up to temperature before we want to go ahead and shut the door all the way. By the way, we do want to leave our air control or our bypass open at this point. So we want to be able to monitor the top. We have a magnetic thermometer on top of the stove. We want to make sure we're monitoring that. And we get into the 200 to 300 degree temp. That's when we know these things start to heat up. Generally want to operate your stove with 400 to 500 degree range. That's kind of a sweet spot. So this particular stove only has one control. It is your air damper, and that's located right here on the front. And this controls how much air goes into the firebox. When you start your fire, you always want to have that wide open. Some other stoves, a lot of the new stoves have what's called a bypass. And what that does is it bypasses the catalytic combustor, and that's for starting your fire. And when you open the door to load the wood, you want to make sure you open your bypass. This particular stove does not have a bypass. You simply just regulate your fire by how much air. So a draw collar here has a heating element right in the stovepipe. What that does, that heats up the pipe and keeps the pipe nice and warm. It's much easier to get a draft going. It's much easier to maintain a fire when you're starting. So we've got a nice hot fire established here. At this time, we could probably add another piece of wood and even cut down the air a little bit here. And we can get more of an extended burn here. So that gave us a nice example of top-down fire. There's a one-match light. We were able to get a nice hot fire established in about 10 minutes. This is Eric from Higgins. Thanks for watching.